Hello, hello. So is 125 grams of protein a day the key to sustainable weight loss? I don't know. We'll find out. My name is Elise, and I have been on an amazing weight loss journey with the help of Zepbound. I have now lost 42 pounds, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still learning new things about myself every day. And for the past couple weeks, I've experienced an injury. So I have not been exercising and doing all the things that I used to do. I was loving the 10,000 a day step count for quite some time now, and I stepped myself straight into an injury. So I have been resting, and then I went in to go heavy with my weights, very aggressive with them, and then I had an arm injury. Can you believe that? So I chose to look at the beauty in my situation that I'm in, and I had dialed down and focused so hard on my eating, tracking everything every day. Now, I am the queen of, I don't want to track anything. I can eyeball it. I'm like the old school grandma. I eyeball everything, even when I'm cooking. But what I realized is me eyeballing and guesstimating everything could be an additional 200 to 300 calories a day that I'm off. For my height, I'm not even 5 feet. I'm 4'11". 200 to 300 calories of error a day could be the difference of me meeting my weight loss goals or me never meeting my weight loss goals. So I had to suck it up and say, Elise, you have to do it, okay? If you're not measuring or weighing your food daily, you're really just guesstimating. And if that worked for you, if it works for you, great. But I have been in a weight loss plateau for a while. I've now gotten out of it. I've lost a couple more pounds, so yay me. But I wanted to see what is the sweet spot for my daily protein and how it really affects me. Now, I track it about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, but I tried out 125 grams of protein as an experiment to see what works best for me moving forward. I no longer fast in the mornings. I start my day front-loading my protein in the morning and add a cup of coffee. Actually, since I started a GLP-1 medication, I've lost my appetite for coffee, and a half a cup is all I can actually do. I throw in some half and half. I ditched the sweet creamers recently, and I also add Optifiber in my coffee, which is just the off-brand of Benefiber. And if you've been on a GLP-1, well, if you know, you need the fiber. I also add in some cacao powder just to add some flavoring into my coffee. It has fiber, magnesium, and some vitamin C. I additionally start my breakfast with cottage cheese eggs. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought, ew, that sounds disgusting, even though I love cottage cheese. But this was surprisingly satisfying. I had 2 eggs and a quarter cup of cottage cheese and added some spinach. This was 25 grams of protein, and I added some avocado and some hot sauce on the side. I was fully satisfied, loving this breakfast. It is a favorite. It is a go-to. Adding the avocado took me to 27 grams of protein for that meal, and I am always satisfied eating eggs 3 to 4 days a week. My next meal was a fruit and yogurt parfait, which are my favorite. Now notice this Chobani Greek yogurt, it's the vanilla kind. It has 16 grams of sugar. This is a rookie mistake. My husband went to go get the Greek yogurt and he said these were the only ones left. So I encourage you to only choose plain Greek yogurt. Just an example, this is the one that I usually use. Turning it around, the amount of sugar is just 3 grams of sugar. What a huge difference. I paired this parfait with a Kodiak brand granola. If you know this brand, they make waffles and pancakes, and they're full of protein. Just the serving that I had alone was 16 grams of protein. I always use fresh berries and some granola on top. 2/3 of this Kodiak granola is 16 grams of protein. So altogether, this was 34 grams of protein, and I was surprised that it was about 400 calories. Now that is a surprise to me. I probably would have less next time. A honey drizzle on top. Moving forward, I probably won't do that just because the sugar count alone. At lunchtime, I had some tuna, 22 grams of protein. You can't go wrong with tuna. Actually, You can. If you load tuna up with tons of mayonnaise, you think it's a 100-calorie thing, but it could easily triple to be 300 calories. Now, I no longer have diet soda, but I had tried this Olipop simply because it was loaded in 6 grams of fiber. Now, who knows if this is true? There may be a lawsuit later on saying that it's a lie, but I got a 4-pack. Moving forward, I probably won't have that either. And later on during the day, I wanted to increase my protein, so I usually get some beef jerky and some cheese. This little snacky snack together was about 19 grams of protein. When I don't do this, I will have a protein shake just because it's easier to digest. Later on that day, I had some cinnamon tea. This is my favorite. This is my favorite black tea. I just needed a little pick-me-up because I was feeling a little sluggish and tired and heavy. And something about a warm cup of tea is just like a nice little hug. So if you are doing fasting or if you're wanting something, a sweet treat, go for some tea. It will curb your appetite for sure. And it's something that I regularly do. Sometimes it's with herbal tea and I'll add some collagen peptides in there. I don't know if the collagen works, but heck, I'm gonna try it out. And for dinner, I use a smaller size plate. You can see the difference. On the left is a skinny girl plate. On the right side, it's a bigger full size plate. For dinner, it was an easy night. I had some seared salmon. It was packaged, but it was 23 grams of protein. Typically, I wouldn't use this. I would just grill some salmon or have it in the oven and not have the additional sugar. And I paired this with some white rice and some broccoli and 23 grams of protein. So at the end of the day, I totaled 125 grams of protein. And I felt so stuffed. I didn't even finish this food. Half the rice was left on the plate. So, how did I feel after eating 125 grams of protein a day? Absolutely horrible. Here's why. I was so stuffed, so full. I was fine up until after I ate the tuna and the cucumbers. I was so full. Normal Elise would have stopped right there. I wouldn't have kept on going. I was so stuffed. And usually in the afternoons, if I needed a protein boost, I could alternate with a protein shake, which is easier to digest for me. But the dinner, I didn't even finish my dinner. I was so full. And the very next day, I actually didn't eat a thing. I had black tea for breakfast, green tea for lunch, and herbal tea for dinner. I was so full. It's great for someone who's wanting to do alternate day fasting. So 125 grams of protein, I don't know. On average, I have been doing 80 to 100 grams of protein. If you look on the internet, there's various calculations that you can use, whether you're doing 1 gram of protein per pound of weight that you are, or you're doing 0.8 grams of protein for your ideal goal weight. So that's what I am going to stick to at this point. So 0.8 times my goal weight is 130 pounds. It comes to 104 grams of protein a day. So me staying in the 80 to 100 gram protein range was good, but I think I'm going to stick to 100 grams and not do 125. But before I was intentional with my eating, before I even got on Zepbound, I was doing about half that, 50 to 60 grams of protein a day, and was wondering why I would stick to my eating habits, doing good habits, and then want to binge at night and eat sweet treats at night. It was because I wasn't having enough protein. I may have not gotten the results that I expected to get. I thought I was going to feel energized and charged with the 125 grams of protein, but that's not how I felt. But that doesn't mean that information wasn't useful for me. It was useful for me in the fact that my doctor had told me that 2 days out of the week have a very low calorie diet. And so that would help me in uploading my protein the day before. And so that was very useful for me. I think having 125 grams of protein and 1,600 calories, that's good for me for someone who wasn't on a GLP-1 med and someone who's probably working out hard in the gym 5 days a week. That's my current situation right now. I was so stuffed. And having a high protein diet is not for everyone. There are people with chronic conditions that it's actually dangerous to have that much protein in a day. So talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before you start a high protein diet. So moving forward, I am definitely sticking to my food journal, regardless of when I am feeling better and ready to go back to doing my steps, back to working out, lifting weights. I for sure know that I am taking more rest days than I did in the past. But food journaling is just one of those things where I know that I have to do. I'm waiting for my appointment for my registered dietitian, but one of the girls in the comments, I can't remember who, but it said, no, my first assignment with my dietitian was to create a food journal. So I have been food journaling for the past 10 days solidly because, well, that's all I can focus on. So 125 grams of protein, it's debatable. Yes, protein is so important, especially on our GLP-1 and leaving us feeling so satisfied. You have to find the sweet spot to what works for you. Moving forward, I changed my mindset about tracking my daily food intake. Instead of seeing it as a chore, as I have to track, I get to track. I get to take care of myself. I get the time alone with myself and really make sure that my efforts aren't being wasted, that I am going to obtain my weight loss and health goals, and that this journey can be a successful one. The reality is, consumption without reflection will never lead to mastery. I want to master this. I want to finally get to the place where I am proud of the woman who I am, and I want to achieve my health and wellness goals. Not only do I want to achieve my goals, I want to keep this body that I've worked so hard for a very long time. I want to keep the weight off. And I'm still a work in progress. It's good to just sit with yourself and recognize how food makes you feel, the things you eat. Do you feel energized? Do you feel sluggish? Do you feel content? Do you feel stuffed? These are all telltale signs of how individual foods work with your body. Have you ever just had a headache and thought, where did this come from? Well, if you're not tracking your water, you don't know if the headache's from that. You don't know if the headache is from a lack of sleep. You don't know if the headache is from that Thai restaurant that you tried out 2 days ago and you realized the curry had something in it that you're allergic to. You don't know. So I am falling in love with tracking my food with my food journal, and so that I can be successful and continue to be successful on my weight loss journey. I hope some of this information that I said was valuable for you. If it was, just hit that like and subscribe button and we can go on this weight loss journey together. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.